Hello and welcome to the wonderful world of Warcraft Shadowlands. This is Workbringer, and today we're going to be checking out the highest key I have pushed to date. It is Mists of Tirna Scithe +9, the easiest dungeon in the game, and I'm not mad at running it a whole lot. I think I did 3 9s, 4 8s this week because this is the farm. And my shield comes from this place, my Bish shield. I didn't get it though. I have an okay shield, but not from here. I got it from Necrotic or something. Bish shield is here. So let's talk about this first pull, having run this a bunch at quote-unquote high for me keys. I'm okay saying that 9 is high. I consider it high for who I am. Anyway, people are dying. The big party cooldown from the healer comes out. And we pulled it real big to start it up. So this is a double pull. Yeah, it's not a triple. But there's a lot at play. So the first big tree person, once you kill it, it heals everyone. It does tranquility. But we bolstered the F out of it. So it's bolstering and tornadoes. So if you kill a bunch of ads, the ones that are left at the end, they're like Omega ads. So we kind of bolstered the most dangerous mob in the dungeon. Oh well. Next one here, though, the Soul Cleaver. I gotta track that on my weak aura. That Soul Cleaver is bad for tank. That's the tank killer. There's 2 of them. I'm starting to run pretty organized guild groups, both with my guild and another guild from Sargeras, where we have voice comms, and I've done like 5 or 6 with the same group, and hey, I'm calling kicks, and they're like, I got first. I'm like, I got second. Like, we're getting there. Calling CCs happen, and it's like, oh, cool. I'm like, we got Ring of Peace comes out. Like, this is how you run the highs, because when everything goes right, not a big deal. It's when things go sideways a little bit, you have to make these calls, and you gotta let people know. Point being, kill the villager first. Don't bolster it like we're doing right now. That's hard to tell people in a pug, but whatever. You do want to focus that one down, and then anyone that has stuns, like stops, right, like Hodge, that Intimidate, or whatever the Beast Mastery one I just saw there, we stun it, or else your boy gets the Soul Slice, and 2 Soul Slices is game over if the big mob tries to hit me. We're going to be sneaky. We're going to sap this one at lower keys. Just face roll it. Just kill those things, man. Just do it. The chances of you having a rogue that knows how to do that, or basically a rogue, the chances of a pug skipping that correctly, they're fairly low. And even if they do shroud it or something like that, again, the chances of someone not paying attention and pulling it anyway, they're high. And so you jumped into this, there's that soul split. Ouch. 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 Face tank it. Also, you're supposed to run away from them after because they heal. Their auto attacks heal them or something. Yo, I don't know how to eat mushrooms. Look at this. I don't think I have the mushroom buff. I don't know how you do that anymore. What's going on? But anyway, we have, I think the pug, the key owner is the rogue. And the rogue's doing big deeps. And just doing good, I forget what the eyeball stun is they have. It's an eyeball on the icon. But doing stuns on the right mobs without me having to say, sapping past the dangerous stuff, and it's good stuff, right? You can only hope for, I'm pretty partial to, I would say, range DPS. I know, as you can see here, I think the raid leader of this group is as well. When it comes to bringing deeps, Beast Mastery Hunter, Fire Mage, always a good time, right? Even at fairly humble item level. Putting up big numbers, bursty, good stuff. For Tyrannical, where we're burning bosses down. It's Tyrannical's like the traditional World of Warcraft, in my opinion. Like mobs, yeah, there's some mechanics, but we just blah blah blah. Then the boss fights are super long. It's like a raid, Tyrannical's turns all of it into a little bit of a mini raid. And burst on demand and also consistent uptime. This is not the right time to lust. It's good stuff. Good stuff. But what I'd say is if the key holder is a rogue or a healer, that's always an ideal group. And you can actually tell that in Group Finder. you can tell whose key it is, which took me a while to figure out what was going on with Raider IO, but you can basically see like their best key, their IO, just a little bit of info. So if I'm looking at a Resto Shaman who's like, done plus 11s and etc., it's getting close to like 600, 700 IO at this point in the season, it's like, that's a good bet. And I would also say another good bet is Rogues, because Rogues are like notorious for bringing like utility for Mythic Plus routes, right? Shroud, Sap, On Demand. I've had good experience, and I believe this is the key owner. So right now is when you pop Lust, BTW. I suppose that was the Shaman. Was this like a real actual Lust? We call everything Lust, even if it's like Time Warp or Beast Mastery Hunter and Rage or whatever they call it. But yeah. So the 9 fight is not too hard. Maybe it's hard to heal, I'm not so sure, but tanking it, basically keep these two together. You can kind of cleave them down. Doesn't exactly work that way, but you're supposed to focus down the big tree to 20%, and then he will become your friend. Before that, he is not your friend, and he will put these blue puddles on the ground, and if you stand to them, they are big damage. And what makes this even sketchier on the higher tyrannical keys is that the fight takes a long time, and there's a fear that goes out. And especially for melee, but really anyone, if you're standing on the blue pools and you get feared, you die. And I see it all the time. We ran a +9 with a monk who was doing like insane damage, died to the blue pools during fear, right? Doesn't matter. Anyway, that's the phase where Ingrid takes extra damage, Droman isn't trying to kill us, and now we gotta bring Droman back down to 20%. Now, any cleave damage we're getting right now is going on to the Ingrid, but it's like reduced. We don't have the buff that gives us like extra damage or whatever. So I'll take the cleave, but the focus target is the tree. In this group, my damage is not as relevant. I'm obviously putting up damage, but the healer's out damaging me. I don't know if there's dots for the rest of Shaman, so there's 2. You can dot cleave. There's 2 adds the whole time. But the higher the key goes, the less relevant. I mean, my damage is relevant, but my numbers are lower. And my ability to, I'm going to burn down the boss, and it's just not going to happen. So I get feared into a disorient. Kind of unlucky, but also just, I could have probably seen that coming. But my point is, I basically stay on Ingra just for the interrupt. Me not letting that cast ever go off, and me sitting on it means no one else has to focus on it, and they can always focus on the boss, right? Is my mentality now as we get into 9s, moving this. I feel like I could do a 10 here. And this place is kind of random because if you don't have any skips, you don't have a rogue, you don't have, basically a rogue, you kind of get the prideful timing you get. And then the maze is, again, random. You end up leaving the maze anywhere from 80 to 60-something%. It's super random what you get. So it's we don't know when we're going to get prideful, not a big deal. Some of the other dungeons you can, again, if the group doesn't butt pull anything and things go perfectly, you can time the pridefuls okay. But there's some dungeons like Sanguine Depths, and this one, it's the timings are kind of And same with Theater Pain too. It's I've been watching the timings. It's there's some shenanigan tactics and Warlock skips and shrouding and some stuff you can do. Or on Theater Pain specifically, you let the tank die so you can have the mob at the top. Those are awkward mechanics. Am I gonna do that? That seems like guild group stuff. I'm not gonna tell a pug hey, guess what? I'm gonna die on this first pull, but don't worry. It's I don't know how that's gonna be received. And I do somewhat anticipate that me getting into 15s pretty much gonna be with my guild. Pretty much gonna be with these other guilds I run with. Consistently, we're on Discord. We're getting to know each other. From the beginning of the expansion, we're all pretty consistent. Most of them are raiders, and M+ is just for gearing and for fun. Unlike me, it's my life. That's what I like doing. That's my World of Warcraft life, anyway. So yeah, I mean, I'll pug them when I can, but it's the likelihood of finding pugs that can pull those off is just lower and lower, right? I can carry a 4 to 7 myself, even if a lot. I mean, if people are just dying, then that can't work. But as far as carrying the must interrupts, obviously doing the route as the tank, etc. I can carry 7s and below, and it's not an issue. Maybe gear level will help. I kind of don't think so, however. As we get into the 9, 10 to 15s, it's like, nah. There's going to be like this, there's going to be a gear cap where like everyone's like, I don't know, like 210 eventually. I mean, I'll be 210 like very soon. But eventually like everyone's 210. And like you're not going to gear massively past it, That's your mythic rating and clearing 15s constantly. So there's going to be like this kind of like gear lull, I imagine, like this plateau in the graph of like the average mythic plus Qers gear level. And it's just skill at that point. It's just skill and kind of synergy and, timings as well. People come into Mythic Plus, it's random groupings. Like, so for me, it might be my first run and I'm like, have coffee in me and I'm like, yeah, hitting all the mechanics, like, let's go. But then again, by like my 8th one of the day, now I do a lot of Mythic Plus. I'm like, I don't really feel like moving. I'm just going to immune bubble through it. Mechanics. And yeah, so everyone has these different timings. Whereas with guild groups, people more or less kind of like, hey, they're like, from my understanding, from watching my guild and some others that I play with, they're like, okay, I'm East Coast, but I play with the West Coast Sargeras guild too a little bit. They're like, we get on at 9 p.m. and we play till midnight, or we get on at 8 and we play till 11, right? So everyone's kind of like had dinner, mostly adult-ish kind of people, I think. Some college, some in between, but a lot of, adulty type people. Right, and so they've done their day, and like this is the chill kind of like fun time. It's also somewhat social for a lot of these groups. Like the core of these guilds are very commonly like IRL or very close online friends. It's like everyone's like awake at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, everyone be awake. Versus me, I'm like pugging all day because I took December off to play WoW like full time. I just wanted to. I wanted to at the beginning of Shadowlands. Like the beginning of Shadowlands is kind of over. But I was there for it, and I wanted to do that. I haven't done that for WoW for a very long time, and I also can't, not to talk about the real world too much, I can't really go anywhere, so I was like, what should I do? What's going to be fun? And man, has this been fun. I love Mythic Plus. I mean, I want to progress and get to high keys, but like, honestly, it's the journey, and that's why I make these videos, but it's like, I like getting to the high keys. I think once you do 20s, you're like, I guess I re-roll. It's like, oh yeah, we'll go for 30s. I'm like, I don't know if I care. It's kind of like hardcore casual is the way I think about it, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not like a hardcore. It's like world first race, Mythic Plus, or Mythic, rating. And be like, yeah, I'm pushing 20s and 200 gear. I'm like, I don't really care. But I like the pace I'm at now. I'm really enjoying this. It feels like, again, I think everyone feels this way. It's like, I feel like I'm above average, but like probably realistically, like I'm right smack dab in the middle of the bell curve of like World of Warcraft players who do Mythic Plus. And I don't know. I'm super into it. So let's talk a little bit about this fight on Tyrannical. On Fortified, boss just dies. Really not an issue. This one, the phases are much longer. So tank job is to just simply keep this Mistcaller, I consider it, away from the Fox so someone can CC it. And I don't bouncy shield it, right? I'm just like, get away. Don't be near the Fox so we don't disrupt the CC. And then I have to interrupt patty cake, so as long as you're not spamming your interrupt, it won't come back before you have your normal melee interrupt timing, whatever that is, I forget. The interrupt timing of the CD cooldown of a rebuke, I don't know, it's like 12 seconds. The other thing is to help cleave the priority target. Though these days on the higher keys, other people's DPS is so high, I'm like, you know what, I'll just tank the mob cleanly. And try to keep it somewhere so that people don't get killed by dodgeball like they did twice here. And so I can consider that the middle. If I can stay middle-ish and away from the Fox, and everyone else does everything else, and I'll cleave a little bit, that's kind of the way. But if I bring this Fox right up on the target, sometimes people have to move and they can't DPS it down. And again, as higher keys go, my DPS kind of flats out around 2.5, 3 at the absolute most single target, and it requires my cooldowns. I'm like, I'm not really contributing like the Rogue can. Rogue can go to like 7k single target, so can Shadow Priest and Fire Mage. I'm like, I'll just tank. And lower keys, as I've kind of shown in other videos, I tank, DPS, and heal, because that's Paladin. But as the keys go higher, I really just tank. I don't do much else. I'm just gonna sit over here. I'll not passively, but kind of, passively just smack this ad, and I'll get like maybe 2k DPS on a good day. Crits be willing, something like that. And yeah, that's what I focus on now. And then just kind of knowing what's dangerous and having the cooldowns prepared for it. It's really that. Like, it's what's kind of cool about World of Warcraft, or at least what I enjoy about it. Oh, the patty cake is scheduled. Oh my god. Oh, that's the latest. I'd be dead, and this would have been a wipe had I missed that. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, just tank. Hold the tank. Pop your cooldowns. And I think the best thing I can do with the higher keys so far is mitigate damage really well. Obviously do the mechanics I'm required to do, but mitigate really well. Use the cooldowns so that the healer can focus on solving the puzzle in this case. They can focus on hexing the vault pin, and just try to keep my own health bar kind of high so that they can do other mechanics and heal other people. Now, of course, they have to passively heal me, but as a healer, I know a certain, like, the best tank to run with is like, I barely have to heal this guy. It's like, I mean, that's not possible on like fortified trash. Now I'm just dying the whole time, but I'm having a priority switch where I was like, me off healing on a 9 and 10, I don't know. I think I'm going to be off healing myself. I'm not sure I'm off healing anyone else. And so that the roles become very distinct, I think, as we go into the higher keys. Lower keys, you can do whatever you want. Like, I want to do it for the memes. I want to run a 5 Prot Paladin and just see how high keys we can push, because we have insane off heals, like insane. Like if everyone talents for like the Word of Glory heal, we're holy paladins. We just generate. We're gonna all be ripping thread off of each other. We're just generating holy power from our normal, like pretty high, okay, like sustained 2k DPS, which is not terrible. And so we're just all doing 2k DPS, but we're all just Word of Glorying each other. We all have immunities. I think it's just has to happen. There's someone in my guild that's like as high level paladin as me, holy and Prot, and I'm like, this has to happen. But as you get into the 9s and whatnot, tank damage isn't gonna cut it. Maybe on fortified weeks we'd be okay, but you really start to need the 3.5 to 5k single target DPS to like make it through fights. Like this is a 9. It's like we're not gonna 5 Prot Pal this down. It would take forever. We might be able to do it, but it's gonna be so painful. But yeah, that's something I want to try. We're making our way downtown, and I truly don't understand the concept of bolstering. And I tried to pull those together. But actually, I think I pulled them anyway. So bolstering, you're supposed to not do huge groups because the last one left gets bolstered like crazy and becomes a boss. I didn't get that until very late into the replays, and then watching some other tanks play the bolstering week, I was like, oh. And what it actually taught me is we were doing a guild run of Halls of Atonement like 7 or something like that, like not very hard. And someone didn't understand the gargoyle mechanic somehow, because we're just carrying, basically. We're just carrying people. Me and the healer. And they pulled both gargoyles before the third boss with the columns in the ad, the ghost ad that needs to go to the columns. And we bolstered the boss because like I didn't understand bolstering, and someone pulled it, and I was like, oh, whatever, we'll just kill them together. Like, we're shredding this thing down. And so we bolstered the boss, and the mage there was like, what are you jokers? What are you like clowns doing? Look at this clown car pull. And so we bolstered it on a tyrannical week, so it had like 50% extra health, and the gargoyle wasn't even helping us do damage. It was pretty sad. I wish I had recorded it. I want to record like the fails, like the Mythic Plus fails that I've had. I actually just delete the replays usually, because I'm like, or I'll stop the replay in the middle. I'm like, okay, this is garbage. But I'm actually going to start keeping the replays that go wrong and just make like highlight clips of like what not to do. I feel like even the runs I've put up online that I consider successful, there's still lots of clips of like what not to do in them. But I mean like actually like absolute like run ending fails. That one wasn't, but I think that's necessary. Look at my AoE damage though. What? Look at this threat up front. That's pretty nice. Those mobs melted, and other people weren't even getting in it yet. So we're finishing this up. Pretty unremarkable. And this is just slug duty, man. kick the. It's not even. They're not dangerous. They just take time. The dots are kind of dangerous if you're the healer. Don't stand in the green, but like I'm not dying out. I mean, I can get low, but there's so many ways for me to live through this. There's no big burst of like death unless I stand in the green. So we trade count in the front where that big tree ad can kill everyone. It does, as seen in the first pull. So we end up skipping it. I get it. Healers don't like the trees. They want to skip it. They want to skip it. They tell me to skip it. Sometimes I skip it. I don't know. Sometimes it gets the Avenger shield in the face because I like hitting things with a shield. You know, that's why I roll. That's why I roll Paladin. So we're on slug duty. Killed the slug. Blah. Killed the slug. We don't have count, and it's very painful how much we're off by count. Right? Wouldn't it be slick to run in here with 9 minutes left? But no. We got a bunch of count to make up, and we're gonna kill more slugs. Burn the cooldowns. Now, if I had Big Brain pulled that pack up there, that probably would have been a good thing. But those things are a little nasty. They kind of fly around and auto-target randomly. Even if I have threat, they just pick someone and give them the dot. The Stinger of Death. And so they're annoying. And guess how much count we have right now? I hate seeing that number. I hate seeing 99 count. Because no pack gives 1%. We're about to overpull by like 4%, right? Rip 99%. But Mr. Tirna Scithe, can't really beat yourself up about it. The count's random. And we did a skippity skip. But now we're just killing slugs. Now, at least we're not dying. Hopefully people are getting their cooldowns back, because we're going into one. This boss at the end, not too hard. But at the same time, people die to the green slimes. So I'll kind of talk through my perspective of how this fight's going on. I'm sure the healer has a different perspective. The first tyrannical I ever ran was a 8. Mist of Tirna Scithe. I have since run 7, 8s, and 9s of Mist of Tirna Scithe and tyrannical for farm. Still don't have my shield, but have hella Great Vault coming to me. I've read it probably 12 times this week. So I know Mist of Tirna Scithe. I know what comps work pretty well. I know which ones don't. I can place my bets right now who's gonna die. Hunters, despite being mobile, do die a lot. I'm not sure why. Maybe they have mail. Or no, are they leather and mail? I should know. I was gonna main one, but like, I don't know. They're kind of squishy. They kind of die a lot, hunters. But on this fight is Death Knights. Death Knights die here, because Death Knights do not have a ton of mobility, and so those green circles, it's like, oh, not that big a deal. Well, we're at 62% health after Lust. And every single time that goes off, there's more green circles. It is the soft enrage mechanic of this fight. Now there's 3 per person, right? And that number will go up to probably 20. If you were just trying to get it to go high, you probably could. Just don't DPS the boss. Let's see how long this goes, right? Interrupt that parasitic situation and mind control someone, which is really bad. And kill the ads. That's about it. Oh boy. Yeah. Now I've seen demon hunters do commentary over this fight. They're like, "Yep," and I just infernal strike away. Like, warriors, should they be in a super bad place? You heroic leap every once in a while. Me have divine steed every 30 seconds. DH, not a ton. Not DH. DK. They get dead a bit. We got an interrupt. Great. The hunter did get hit by it. Didn't one shot them, so that's lovely. Mind Link, apparently you can be a gamer and the person that gets focused can pre-run away and it never even happens. I think that might happen randomly, like sometimes, right? Lot of green. I think I get one. Oh, it got me. One's okay. It's when they overlap and you get a couple. It's GG's. It's not good. Mind Link. Oh my god. Okay. Health is low. Health is low, but our shaman's full mana. What is it with our shaman's mana? They're good to go. Oh, someone got mind control. I didn't even notice that. Ooh, I've seen this story before. I've died to that several times. It's getting dicey. Okay, and I gotta get away from that person. Yeah, in generally, I try to stay away from the walls, because then obviously you limit your green pool runaway area. But this is fine. It's kind of, oh boy, it's kind of lucky for people. It's kind of common for people to be low towards the end. Ads, green pools, whatnot. That's the fight. And we time a +9. Hooray, it's the easiest +9 in the game. For sure. However, there are mechanics that will end the run just outright. Didn't get my shield, big rips. Go again, as Yummy TV says. I'll see you on the next video.